Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. In this episode on the Kennel Club Good Sisters and Dog Scheme, bronze level, we're looking at exercise 2, which is collar, lead and equipment. So this is kind of a tag on from the previous exercise, and if you're being tested, you'll probably find it all comes under that. And they do it all in one, they don't split the exercises. But what this basically means to show is that firstly that your dog is wearing appropriate equipment to be walked on. So that could be a collar, it could be a head halter, or it could be a harness. Secondly, it demonstrates that you are capable of taking off the collar, harness, head halter and putting it back on. And of course you're going to also demonstrate that you've got an appropriate lead that's in good condition so that it's not going to suddenly snap, and when it's not something like a piece of rope around the neck, something like that. It's got to be appropriate. So what is an appropriate collar? It's going to be either a sort of collar like a flat or round collar. So Merlin's wearing a flat collar is when they're like most collars are flat collars you buy in the shop. They're sort of wide and they're wide like that. A rolled or round collar is where they are circular. So they are like a cord. And a lot of dogs with fluffy coats, they wear these ones because it's meant to be kinder on the coat and not so damaging to the coat. What we're not wanting to see is choke chains, prong collars or pinch collars, shock or spray collars. You might be allowed a half check or martingale collar. The half check is where they have mostly cloth or material, but there's just a little bit at the end which has got a chain so it can tighten around the dog's neck. That might be allowed. Martingale is similar except it hasn't got a chain, it's just got all material. So that's usually used for dogs that have got very narrow heads that could slip out. Harnesses, there's not much I can say about harnesses. It's just an appropriate harness that fits your dog correctly. The same with the collar, they should be fit correctly. That should be able to put 2 fingers between the collar and the neck, so it's not too tight. At the same time, it shouldn't be loose enough that it can just slip off the dog. So harnesses, there are lots of different types of harnesses up there. The important thing is that it fits the dog correctly, and again, they can't slip out of it. And with head collars, there's lots of different types of head collars, but again, they must be appropriately fitting. They mustn't be doing things like riding into the dog's eyes or causing any discomfort. So what will be done in the examination is you'll take your dog's collar off, show your dog's collar. Probably at the same time as this, you'll show your identification. I've taken the lead off at the same time. They might ask you to remove the lead first, no, why not? And then you're going to demonstrate that you can put the collar back on without any problem. Oh, hello, Mr. Merlins. Now, good boy. Now, if there's any concern that they think your dog may bolt when you remove the collar or run off or might become out of control, then what they might do is ask you to either use a secondary lead, or they might suggest you make a slip lead with your lead. So this is where, by the way, a slip lead is not you wouldn't be using a slip lead normally in an obedience class or like this, because you need to have a collar on your dog. So you would be using an actual collar. You wouldn't be using a slip lead in that. But you can make a little slip lead with a lead like this if there's any reason to suppose that your dog might disappear the second you take the collar off. The examiner wants to see that your dog is not nervous or worried about having the collar on and off, and they also want to be able to see that if there is any reason for the dog to be nervous or worried, that they can't then slip out of the collar or the harness, or if that is a risk, that you've put in place as in measures so that you can prevent that. So for instance, if you've got a dog that might be liable to slip out of a collar, you might also have the dog wear a harness at the same time and have a lead attached either end, a double-ended lead to either end, so that just in case, just so you can prove that you are aware of this possibility and that you're prepared for it. But that is basically it. Not terribly exciting, is it, Merlin? Merlin says, I'm just sitting here. I haven't done anything for the last 3 videos. I'm bored. Give me sausage. Yeah, there we go. So I hope you've enjoyed this Everyday Canines video. And if you have, you might subscribe to the YouTube channel, and you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram. And I hope to see you all again very, very soon.